Hello, Andrew. So I have a couple of questions to ask you about education, Catholic education more specifically. So my first question is, do you think it is important that Catholics have a good education in a Catholic environment?
Well, clearly there are manifold problems in schools, and the whole question of the problem of the Catholicity of schools has been an issue in developing over the last 40 to 50 years, and the decline in catechesis, the decline in people understanding the faith or wanting to communicate the faith in schools, or even actually not wanting to communicate the faith but something else which is in disagreement with the faith, has been our major problem. It's the elephant in the middle of the room for those of us who recognise that. You know, the way things have got worse and worse and worse. You know, I would understand totally the way, particularly the people who want to homeschool. You know, I very much praise Archbishop Wilson there in Southwark, trying to take the bull by the horns and challenging what's happening in that school in Southwark there. He's a very good man. Funny enough, we talked together at Ushaw when he was on the staff there. You know, I think that's setting a good example. I mean, very tragically, there you have an English archbishop doing what he should do, and in Germany, you know, God bless people who are just completely going off the edge of the cliff. We have to pray for them and try and bring them back, but there you go. Yes, so obviously things are in a parlous state in schools.
I think, just to draw your attention to the end of the question, I think the importance of a Catholic environment within education is very underrated, because obviously I went to a private Catholic university, so we're still talking about higher education. But it's one thing to just go to school and have some catechism, and the rest of everything is just sort of secular, or you just study English, maths and stuff. But it's very important to have an environment where the faith is imbued into everything.
Well, they always used to say that was the three legs on the stools of the old days, you know, about Catholic education for children, the home, the parish and the school. But in the last 40, 50 years now, we've seen, you know, the two legs coming off the stool and then the other leg comes off. Interesting to talk about homeschooling. I do have friends in California. I went out to Thomas Aquinas College once for a visit and gave a talk, and a bit of experience for that about 20 years ago. And visited these friends over the years there in a family. The dad and the mum went as students to Thomas Aquinas. But there's it's interesting to see, because there were so many families doing homeschooling. One time when I visited them, they were all in homeschooling groups, and then they started an academy, you know, which then developed into a school. So, you know, it returned to a school environment, but built up out of homeschooling groups. So it's interesting to see. But there it was a school that you know, again, realised these ideals, which are still in the magisterium's teaching on what should be done in Catholic schools. But at the moment, that's why some people would say they'd actually prefer homeschool, even if you know, I mean, I haven't had that experience, I say, but I can value what if somebody feels that, you know, because the Church's teaching has always been the parents are the prime educators, but it's just you know, you might need a bit more expertise in other areas, and the whole thing of socialisation and so forth too. But if there are families that get together, you know, then that socialisation can occur very in a healthy way.
For me, as a homeschooler, I wouldn't have said that socialisation was ever really an issue. You know, I think
you have so many brothers and sisters.
Well, there's that first of all. I wanted to be alone. No, but it was, you know, we always had other homeschooling friends. We always had other Catholic families who were in the same boat. You know, I never felt like I was socially awkward, or we were set on a back foot.
I don't think that's
because of that fact. So, you know, I think that's sort of a myth.
Yes.
So my second question, which actually I think we've already kind of covered there, is how important do you feel good catechesis is in the school environment?
Well, I think good catechesis is important overall. I think we're also talking not only about, in terms of catechesis, children, of course that's vital, but adults and all age ranges. I think particularly in a very secular world, a world that hurtles challenges at people's faith all the time, the importance of catechesis for all ages is absolutely essential. And the great gift the Church has given us of the Catechism of the Catholic Church has been a great resource for, of course, it's quite rich theologically. I mean, you know, we use it in the seminary in good formation, and there are all sorts of other. I mean, the Penny Catechism's great, and other catechisms and other catechetical resources for the appropriate age, the appropriate stage people are at. So you need to form people all the way up from childhood, and give them the resources in both faith and reason to encounter their culture, to try and see, you know, what's good and what's evil in a culture, and then have the resources to evangelize that culture and preach the faith in it, because it's only by understanding where the confusions are, recognizing confusions and dangers, that you can do something about them, both avoid them and do something, ask the Holy Ghost to help you to do something to correct them.
Well, personally, I would think that higher education, university education and masters, etc., is all, like having a proper Catholic university is almost more important than having Catholic schools. Do you know? Because I think the age at which you go to university is actually a very vulnerable, very tender age, and I think throwing children from either homeschooling or Catholic academy background into a secular university is sort of suicide. It's you know, they're young, they're adults, but not really, you know.
They may have kept the faith in some way or other to that stage, but then they just get so knocked about by all the sort of woke nonsense and all stuff at the university. So I think, you know, there are some very good Catholic chaplaincies at universities. They try very hard.
St. John Henry Newman to help us build a network of Catholic universities.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you very much
for
the
very much.
Very interesting
Thank you. Thank you for the interesting discussion.